What's up, guys? I'm Kyle Mylan. It's the first Tuesday of the month, so you know what that means. Every month we come live talking about the latest in marketing, B2B marketing, B2C, and we're here to just share all of our knowledge, the secrets we do here at Mylan Media, the #1 marketing agency out there.
And I brought with me the fire extinguisher.
Cold email marketing is actually increasing.
The big AI updates that HubSpot released.
Shifting some of your budget into that AI overview summary. If they don't trust you, it does not matter how good your process is. I've got a YouTube channel with over 2,000 videos on it. We post content every single day, and the purpose here is to bring you guys stuff that we do at a marketing agency level for a lot of clients at scale, and bring you guys that knowledge so that you can adapt it into your processes, learn from us. This is what we do here at Mylan Media. We help companies increase their revenue with all sorts of marketing, whether it's web, SEO, automation, paid media, everything under the sun. We're here to deliver content for you that you can apply today. What's up, guys? We're here to talk about some marketing because it's the first Tuesday of the month. Brought Cristian in with me. What up, Cristian?
What's up? All good. How are you, Kyle?
Doing good. All right. So today we're talking about why industrial buyers are ignoring your marketing and how do you get them to pay attention. And in the industrial market, there's so many people that are trying to do the same thing, and some of the stuff isn't super sexy and awesome and exciting. And you're like, why am I not getting attention? Even if you've been doing things like well for years, I feel like you will eventually reach a pinnacle, and we're going to work through some of the common challenges that we see, not only with our current customers and things that we work through and that we have been working through for the past 11 years, but also things that we see with potential future customers when we do an initial assessment, strategy, audit of what's going on with their marketing because they want to hire us as an agency. So we've got 5 things we're going to go through. Cristian, make sure I talk like this. Cristian, you want to pick the first one?
Let's go. The first one is generic messaging. So, Kyle, have you seen in your years of experience in different companies, few verticals, as an agency owner, that there is a consistent flow of generic messaging going around?
Yeah, I think that the most common thing that I see, and I usually used to do this a lot years ago, but I'd say, all right, tell me why you're different, and tell me your messaging, but you can't use engineering, customer service, on-time delivery, or good quality. Like, not using those 4 things. What is your messaging? And that usually would stump people a lot. And I feel like people have gotten better these days, and with ChatGPT and Gemini and all the other things, it's like, here's what I do, give me some messaging. You can get some messaging pretty quick. But yeah, I'd say in general, it's pretty generic. But then I would question, like, what does that really matter? Right? Like, does the messaging matter to the buyer, or are people possibly overthinking like how to get our messaging right? I feel like if you talk to a branding agency, they're gonna be like, dude, messaging is everything. When you talk to a performance agency like us, it's like messaging don't really matter much. Differentiators matter, offers matter, where they land matters, but like the messaging, it kind of gets lost. I don't know. I feel like it's not as important as others, but what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's also depending on who's the intended recipient, right, of that message. If it's someone that has the problem, dealing with the actual problem, let's say you want to sell a machine that does XYZ, it's going to help someone on the production floor. They have to spend hours, fixing a machine, getting it ready for the next run. If you're talking to that person and if the messaging resonates with them, then you're going to win. But if you try to appeal to everyone in the company, right, with the same messaging, that's where it gets kind of generic. Because honestly, the guy in the production floor doesn't care about budget that much, or about saving in delivery times, etc. He wants to fix his own problem, right? Whereas the CEO, the CFO, they're looking at numbers, probably they're looking at overhead, so that type of messaging resonates with them, right? So let's say if you are a company that manufactures and you sell to other companies, right, in the same vertical, you have to figure out who you're talking to. I would say, and make that message resonate for the person you're trying to reach out to.
Yeah. Now, would you say that you should keep that segmentation somewhat general? Because I feel like people go down the path of like, let's create buyers personas, and you got Eddie the engineer and Paul the plant manager and Steven the sales guy. And they're like, all right, different messaging for different people and different timing. And that was all the craze like 4 to 6 years ago. And then even with execution, right? So you've got to do your emails. And it's like, oh, well, you're emailing a CEO, so that's got to be different messaging than you're emailing a plant person, which is different messaging than emailing a VP of ops, which is different than CFO. Do you feel like people go a little bit too deep in that Kool-Aid pool with it?
I think they do. I think, yes, there could be 1 or 2 sentences and the message and the post and whatever you're doing that can be adjusted for the buyer persona. I love how you match the names with their roles.
That's what they do.
Steve the salesman.
That's what they do.
Peter the plumber.
Eddie the engineer. I've
Eddie the
seen it.
engineer.
Like we've worked with companies in the past where they come in and like, all right, we need some action. We need some sales. We need some revenue. We need some leads. And we get in there and we're like, all right, let's take a look at it. And like, before you get into it, we worked with this other agency and we did our personas. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And I'm like, send me over the personas. And it literally says they always rhyme. The first initial has to rhyme with it's got to be Steve the sales guy or Cassie customer service or like it's always got to be some weird name.
It gets crazy. But what I think, let's say if a company meets, I don't know, quarterly, monthly, whatever, and they figure out what they need, and then each one of those personas have an assignment, right? At the end of the day, it's for a common goal for the company, right? So if you're addressing the common goal for the company in that messaging, I would say you don't have to get in the weeds of, make it precisely for person A, person B, person C, because at some point they all are looking at the same goal, right? End goal for the company. So
yeah, and I think that if you get your general messaging, what's your brand about, right? Your brand is about like made in USA, it's tough, or it's cutting edge technology and you're leading, et cetera, et cetera. As long as that messaging is consistent across all the different areas of marketing, I feel like that can separate you. But when it's just like we build good products or we have good service and we do it well and we do it for everybody, then you're basically like there can only be one that's the cheapest, right? There's only one Walmart. Others have tried, but there is only one Walmart. So you got to kind of pick a brand, pick a messaging and go with that, but maybe not go as deep into it with like all of this fluffy stuff.
Yep, I agree.
All right, let's go to the next one, which is kind of similar. Point number 2. What does it say, Christian?
Point number 2, talking to the microphone here, Kyle, practicing my skills, is buyer relevance. So kind of tied up with what we've been talking about, but this is more on maybe the company as a whole, right? Are they the right fit, the right industry? Do they have a need? Do they have a pain point? What can we say about that?
Yeah, it's really got to be relevance to like the target demographic that you're going over, the ideal customer profile or ICP. And then your messaging has to be relevant to them at the same time, right? So number 1, understand who are you going after and what's important to them and how are you going to get their attention with that messaging. Like it kind of all goes together. We've had calls with clients and we ask them like, who's your ideal customer profile? What's your target demographic? Some people are like, oh man, we got it laid out 20% this, 30% that. This is who we go after. These are the functions, job titles, etc. And other people are like, dude, we'll sell anything to anybody. It's like, okay, if we sell anything to anybody, then that's going to make a very slow process to get you in front of the right people. So we got to go with data. Who have you actually sold to, past customers, etc. But yeah, I think that you have to be relevant to them and you have to show that you understand their industry and their problems. And that goes to if they go to your site, if they see a social post, if they watch a video, if they read an article, within the first, like, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds, they got to be like, those guys know me. That's in general what I think.
Yeah. And we do have one client right? One of our best clients. I love how in their sales process they're quick to qualify the leads, right? It's like, can we help you, or can we not?
Yeah.
Are you ready now? Are you ready later? And then that way, they don't spend a lot of time, right, with leads that they cannot help, or they don't have the budget, or they're simply not a fit. So I guess all of that as well, right? The sales process has to inform a little bit the marketing process. That's where the feedback loop comes in, right? Are we getting relevant leads? Are they a fit? Are they ready to buy now, right? So that's like a machine that needs to work well together to be able to get better messaging, get better marketing out there.
Yeah, I mean, why waste time with people that aren't a fit? You're just wasting their time and your own time, right? So, like, get them in, qualify them. Are they in or are they out? And then feed that information back to marketing, right?
Yep.
All right, so we got generic messaging. That's something that is not going to be helping you, and you got to get that right. You've got the lack of relevancy or buyer relevancy. That's number 2. What's number 3, Christian?
Número tres, lack of
Oh,
proof.
a little Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
slid
I was
out
gonna leave
there.
the cinco. I should have done it in the cinco in number 5. We do
Yeah.
have 5, right?
Yeah, we
do
got
have
5.
All right, number 3, it's lack of proof. So essentially, lack of maybe case studies of skin in the game, right? Have you done this before? For who you've done it before? So sometimes, on websites, on printed material, we see that, yeah, people have reviews, they have case studies, but it's not very prominent, and that should be one of the main things that you highlight. People that you've done this for, so you can put or add more trust to the message you have out there.
Yeah, and that's where if you just take a look at your company's site and take a look at your competitors and see, like, is it all basically the same, and what can you do to your website or your social or your videos to make yourself be different, right? And so proof could be one of them, where you're like, I've got client testimonials. Okay, everybody has quotes on their site, but do you have video? Do you have an article? Do you have a case study? Do you have a downloadable guide? Do you have, like, what do you have to show the proof? And maybe it's not necessarily like, if you're like, oh man, I work with companies that will never go on public to be able to say this, like, we worked with you. Maybe the Fortune 500, aerospace, defense, military, etc. Like, no, we don't want any of that. Okay, so what can you create that shows that you can prove that you know what you're talking about and what that target demographic needs, without just being like, we got these things and they do these things well, and we know that you need them. What type of content, tools, assets, videos, etc. can you create that proves that? I think that, like, us creating all the content we have over the last 6, 7, 8 years proves that we know industrial manufacturing. The performance that we've done proves that we know it. Do we always get everything right? Absolutely not. Do we have some clients and selling some things in some industries that's just like, dude, it's not a fit? 100% that happens. That's the agency life. But there's not somebody else out there that could prove that they know industrial like we do, because this is pretty much all I've done my entire life. So proof can come in many different ways, right? It doesn't have, don't just think simplistically of, oh man, I need a case study. It's like, what if we created a whole series about cleaning ceilings in airport or in like hangars for airplanes? Like, we're going to clean, we refurbish what do they call them? Airplane hangars. We refurbish airplane hangars and we clean the ceilings. And if we were just like, here's a case study of us doing a really good job, that's one thing. What if we create a whole series where it's like, we're going to talk about the crazy stuff we've seen at airplane hangars, and it's like every week you got a podcast, or every month? Like, that shows relevancy, right? So,
Right.
So get creative with it. I think. Anything else on the lack of proof?
Yeah, and you don't necessarily need to, call out maybe a client or a company, but you could massage that messaging a little bit and say, a company in this industry, right? Or a company that had this problem, we solved it by doing, this thing.
Yeah.
So you can get creative with the messaging, and also, like Kyle said, a bit of storytelling. I know storytelling has been like an overused thing for people to do, but you can turn something you do into a bit of a story, like you said.
Yeah.
And then in there, people will relate to maybe a problem that you fixed for someone, or how you would approach, right, something, because expertise can be also how I would do things, right? Instead of
Yeah. Like walking through the process,
Right.
right? Like give me a situation and I'm going to tell you how we're going to handle it, which we've done that before,
Right.
just inadvertently. But yeah, I think those are great examples. All right, number 4, poor timing. That's why buyers can't see you, because your timing is bad. Give me some points behind that, Christian.
Wait, so you're saying that we should message people after a while, even if they don't say something?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to make money,
So you're saying
that's how
that
you do it.
that circumstances change and people's budgets change, and
Every minute of every day.
so you're saying that I could come back to
Yeah.
old leads and try to get them?
You can make that money that you lost and buy those shoes for your kids or whoever.
Mr. Kyle, you're saying that even if the timing is poor now, I can take advantage of that in the future. I can try again.
Yeah,
Is that what you're
absolutely.
saying?
That is what I'm saying. Crazy idea, right?
There you go. Unheard of.
It's unheard of, and we see it. I was just going through an account this morning, about to send out a marketing email. I'm like, wait a minute, this person's no longer there in HubSpot, and we switched over the owner, etc. I'm going through this list of people, and every single contact that I'm going through on the first page, disqualified. And I'm like, something seems wrong here. And this was a person, one outreach attempt, nope, you're not a good fit, disqualified. And they're never going to go back. So then we have to go in and say, hang on a minute, are they really disqualified, or was it just timing?
Right.
And go in and change that so we can market to them. So yeah, it's how many times have you seen people do that one touch disqualification?
Hundreds of times.
Yeah.
It's like the rule, right? It's the norm. But I've seen the flip side when people just have a quick, touch 6-9 months after. Hey, how's it going? Let's say if they were unqualified because they didn't have the budget at the time. Hey, how's it going? Has anything changed with your budget? Can we get creative and find a solution? Right? Just a simple message like that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Or even if they if it's a closed lost deal, they won with a competitor, just check in on them a year from the closed lost date. Hey, how's it going with the other guys? Are you happy?
Guys.
Can we help? Right. So there's a a lot of ways we can go back and figure out if the timing was wrong the first time, then we can try to figure out. Because everything is kind of cyclical, right, Kyle? There's budgets, there's external things that affect decisions, but you can just keep on being a resource for them and then try to get them next time.
So what do you say to somebody that says, yeah, but Christian, they're going to reach out to me when they need something?
Yeah, that's not going to happen unless if you're a plumber that you can fix plumbing problems.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the
like an emergency
plumber that can get things fixed right away. That's the only person that someone would call.
But even still, let's say that there is a plumber. I feel like you run the risk of being like, what was the name of that guy?
Oh yeah.
Right. So that's the other issue with it is, what was the name of that guy? Are you remembered? Are you forgotten about? We just last week closed a client, medium-sized client with a project. So decent revenue for us in the grand scheme of things. That I think it was October, November of 24. Yeah. October, November of 24 quoted them. Team followed up in Q1 of 25. Nothing really happening. Didn't seem like it was going anywhere. I took the reins in June, July of 25. Followed up. Oh, nothing right now. Followed up again in Q3 of last year. Hey, we're just waiting for some new things. Again in January of this year. Followed up to stay with them. And then they just became a client last week. So it took, like, that's not super common for us to take 15 months from the first point that we talked to somebody, but things happen. Like you said, budgets change, people change, direction changes, all their initiatives and their motives. Everything changes on a daily basis. You call somebody today, they say no, but tomorrow they have an issue. So those things can happen all the time. And you just have to understand that there's always something changing, and you got to stay with people. Unless there's no fit based on technology or like the use case, no fit, there's always a fit then.
Yep.
All right. Last, do you guys want to take a break before we jump into number 5? All right. We're going to take a short break. before we jump into number 5. The cliffhanger, if you guys have any comments, questions, or a situation where you're like, man, these people won't pay attention to us, put them in the comment section and we can answer it when we get back. If you're watching this on replay, still leave a comment because we get notified. We'll be right back. We're back. We're back live. We're back live. That was quick.
And we're back.
All right. So what is number 5?
Number 5, no real differentiation. What does that mean?
What does that mean? What do you mean? You got to be different than other people?
What?
I thought everybody can be the exact same and people would pay attention to you. And that's honestly like what I feel like these industrial manufacturing companies think is like, we do this service, we have this piece of equipment, we have this technology, and how it's different than everybody else is like this little microscopic detail of like, yes, but ours can do this. Ours has a position accuracy that's 20 microns like tighter than theirs. And they're like, why isn't anybody paying attention to us? Why can't anybody find us? Why can't anybody tell us apart from somebody else besides our logo? That's what I feel like people think when they create their marketing, because there's no creativity behind it, which sometimes it's hard, right? There's clients that we've dealt with where it's like, dude, how creative can you get with this? Like when we're making an offer,
right?
It's like, what are you going to offer them, man?
Yeah.
Like Christian and I are sitting there like, dude, I don't know what we should do.
ChatGPT,
give me some ideas. ChatGPT's like throwing its hands up like, dude, I don't know. Ask Gemini. And we're like brainstorming, trying to throw noodles at the wall, see what sticks. And then we're just like, you know what? How about we just create something? Let's create a tool, some sort of web dev tool, a calculator, something like that. We'll just create it. And then that's the offer is like, use this for your next thing.
Yep. And I think, so finding a differentiator, like two companies can do the same thing, right? Exactly the same type of product. They can manufacture, I don't know, fans for jets or
okay.
Blades for motors.
What is a fan for a jet?
I don't know. There has to be a fan somewhere.
There's a fan. There's a fan in the bathroom.
There has to be.
There is.
Yeah.
I know that.
Somewhere. Let's say they do this the exact same thing, same quality.
So they're making bathroom fans on airplanes.
Right.
And somebody else makes the exact bathroom fan on an airplane.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, how can we turn the unsexy into something not only sexy but unique? Right.
I mean, that's where for me you got to go to technology, efficiency, the packaging of it. Is it smaller? Is it bigger? Coloring is going to be pretty much the same, right?
Mm-hmm. What about the brand personality?
Brand personality. Okay, so maybe all right. So let's go outside of bathroom fans in airplanes and go to like fans in general, right? Yeah. Like ceiling fans,
right?
Like maybe your ceiling fan is a hunter, or maybe it's big ass fans and your logo's a donkey. Like that's good branding that gets remembered, and people can be like, oh, that like there's some brands that we've come across at trade shows that have funny names
mm-hmm.
or funny logos, and they do it intentionally to be remembered, right?
Exactly. So maybe that's the thing, right? Maybe that's the key. If you are doing something that's, product that's kind of generic, repeatable, there's no real secret sauce in the product itself on how you make it. What about the brand? I think that the people that make up a company, it's like a fingerprint, right? There's not two companies. They can do the same thing. They can produce, execute, and the end result is the same product in both companies. But the people that make up each company is different, right? So the culture, all of that comes into play into being a differentiator as well.
Yeah. So you're almost talking like the experience,
right?
Too, right. Mm-hmm. So then if that's your thing, let's say that you make fans and your fans are the same as other people's fans, but the experience that clients have is different, then you have to find a way to put the messaging out there to talk about it, which comes to creating content, not just like inside being like, our customers say that we're the best. Here's our survey. It's like ask the customers, get them on video, get them on articles, get them on case studies, walk people through the experience. When you sign up with us or when you buy this thing from us, this is our process. Show them behind the scenes. Be a little bit more transparent with them to build that trust. So we're like, okay, if I'm going to buy this ceiling fan at $1 million or at $100,000, these guys I trust already, which it all comes back to trust because you can't close the sale without trust. These people have shown me like the transparency of their company and their process. I trust them without even talking to them. And then I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to be okay with maybe a higher price.
Yep. That's one thing that I love about, let's say, our video team, the way that they bring about the creativeness. Like we've had brands that do recycling.
Yep.
We've had clients that they do, tanks. But our video team, they go all in and then they make it so interesting and fun, right? The music, the shots, the angles, everything, right? The ideas,
transitions.
Correct. So that's one way to also differentiate yourself. Let's say you do something that's not as exciting, but it's still needed and useful. What about if you have an amazing video that showcases your company, the products, the process, your culture, all of that?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be the way to do it. You got to figure out, like, to close this up, you've got generic messaging, buyer relevance, lack of proof, poor timing, no real differentiation. What it all comes down to is how are you going to stand out from everybody else, from the look, the feel, the experience. Best example of this is next time you go to a trade show, walk down the aisle, look at the colors and the visual stuff that you see, and try and find that needle in a haystack that's standing out. Try and find somebody that's not doing everything like with the grain and a little bit against the grain. And that's really what you got to look at. While people aren't literally going and finding their suppliers only at trade shows, they need to have something put in front of them that is different. So sometimes you need a massive shakeup, even if you've got an old brand that's been around for a while, a massive shakeup to the look, the feel, the experience, get the messaging right. But the key with all of this is none of that matters if you don't get in front of them.
That's right.
And that's where the performance comes down to. What are you doing in marketing? Are you doing email marketing, paid advertising? Are you running billboards at trade shows, doing snail mail? Like, what type of things are you doing? Social media, video production? Are you doing different things to get in front of the potential buyer so they can see you and then say, hey, this guy's different? I think that's the key, right?
Awesome. Hit the nail on the head.
The nail on the head. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you got value out of this content. Make sure you follow me. What's that? One comment? All right, we got one comment. Luke, let's hear it. The comment says they like the flip of the cameras.
The comment says the audio sounds great.
Audio is great. Go for it.
What are the criteria and tactics to qualify?
Oh man, that's criteria and tactics. That goes back to your own company. Like, you got to have a hit list of, let's say, 5 to 7 things that your manager, your company determines. As long as they meet this criteria, then they are initially qualified. Now, once they're qualified from like a sales standpoint, you still have to close them on a deal and make sure that if you're selling something, you got credit terms, etc., that everybody qualifies them, that everybody's fine with it. But you need to have, 5 to 7 of your own qualification criteria. So it's got to be, cost has to be somewhere in there, right?
Right.
Technology or whatever you're selling, does it solve their problem? That has to be in there. The timing of it, I think that has to be in there as far as qualification. So can you solve their problem? Number one. So they've got this issue. Can you solve it? Yes. Okay, cool. Can you do it at a price that they're comfortable at? That's number 2. Okay, I can do it for a price. I can solve your problem. Expectations of the time it's going to take you to solve that problem. Oh, I can't get that machine or that thing for 16 weeks. I'm out. I'm going to go find somebody who can do it for me in 4. Instant disqualification. So you've got solution to the problem. You've got the cost it's going to take them to solve the problem. You got the time it's going to take you to solve the problem for them at that cost. What else am I missing?
I think you've hit them all.
So those 3, then you can get into like the nitty gritty details of like, does this desk that I'm going to build for you fit in your office? Like spatial constraints, stuff like that. I mean, other than that, your specific business might have specific things that you need to qualify it. But if you look at just solve the problem for a price that you're comfortable with at a time that you're comfortable with. I think that's an initial, that's they're qualified or not. Any follow-up questions to that? Well, we appreciate the question. You guys follow Christian and I on LinkedIn. Make sure you stay tuned to our monthly lives that we do. Head over to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to the company channel. If you're watching this on replay, if you put a comment in, the team gets notified. We'll come in there and answer, and maybe even send you a personal video response if it's in depth. But be sure to follow all of our content, and we will see you on the next one.
See ya.